Yesterday was Shabbos, and of course we don't cut hair on Shabbos itself, but today we can cut his hair. And what was so significant that yesterday in Shul we started the third book of the Torah, Vayikra, and there's a famous Hasidic story that is about the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe. It says by his Upsheren and Reinfunish, when he had his haircut and he was introduced into the world of Jewish education, his Zayda, his grandfather, took him to the Cheder, the Jewish school, and he sat him on the teacher's knee. And he asked the teacher, he said, I want you to start teaching him from Vayikra, the exact same portion of the Torah that we read yesterday. So how significant was that? And he learned with him the first few verses, the whole first paragraph of that book, that portion. And when the boy came home, like Motti did, he said to his Zayda, he said to his grandfather, he said, why is the Aleph in the first word of Vayikra small? When he calls out to, when God calls to Moses, he calls him Vayikra, he says, come, I'm calling you, and the letter Aleph is so small. And when his Zayda, his grandfather, asked him that question, he went into a meditative, transcendent state. And with his eyes closed and his face became holy. And after a few moments, he sort of came out of it, and he said to his grandson, the Tzemach Tzedek, Menachem Mendel his name was, he said, well, let me tell you why. He said, by Adam, by the first man who was created, we find in the book of Chronicles, in the first verse of the book of Chronicles, Adam, the name Adam is also spelt with an Aleph. But that Aleph, instead of being small, is enlarged. It's the large size Aleph. And over here in our Parsha, in our portion, the Aleph of Vayikra is small. And this is very important. He said, by Adam, Adam the first man, Adam knew his traits, Adam knew that he was a gifted person. That's why it says how he was so gifted that he was the handiwork of Hashem himself, and he was greater than all the angels. And he knew it. He knew that his wisdom far surpassed any angelic creature, and he knew that he was so talented and so blessed with all of these great things and characteristics. And it had the effect of blowing up his ego a little bit, and became a little bit egotistic, and it led to the sin of eating of the forbidden fruit. So it was his ego led to the Aveira, led to the sin. So he said, but when it comes to Moses, Moses also knew his traits. Moses also knew that he was incredibly gifted, a gifted leader, a gifted teacher, but his Aleph, even though he knew all of these traits, he was humble enough to recognize that these traits were supposed to be used for the furtherance of goodness and kindness and the performance of Torah, mitzvahs, and leading the Jewish people. It takes humility. The lesson is that it takes humility to know your traits. If you know that you're good at something, it takes humility to know that you're good with these things. You have these traits and talents because you're meant to use them for the very, very best. Every single one of us is unique and special, and our Motti is no different. It's very special and it's very unique. And the lesson that we learn from that story is that we take those unique talents and use them for the best. And Motti is going to start wearing his yarmulke and his tzitzis, as every proud Jewish person does. And he's very excited by the looks of it. Yeah! And in order to encourage him to tread the path of our ancestors and to hold strong to the guiding book of the Torah, each one of us is as much as he can take, of course, is going to have a little snip of his hair to get him prepared, ready to wear his yarmulke and to keep the payas, which are the symbol of a Jewish boy. So what we'd like to do first is I'd like to call upon Rabbi Eli, my Safta's, my mother-in-law's husband, who is a beloved, dear person in Motti's life, to come and read the Rebbe's letter, which the Rebbe would send to families when their boys were going to have an Upsheren. So this is the letter that the Rebbe sent, and it's a way to open up the ceremony by reading the letter to receive the Rebbe's blessings.
Mazel Tov. Thank you very much for the introduction. The Rebbe writes in Hebrew, standard letter to parents in honor of the child that has the Upsheren. Shalom Bracha. Mein al hayda idoisim holedes hashlishi shal benam shiyichya. Hine motek lekaimen chelek michtav kweit kedushas meretemi adwadek katzalik l'roch kedush l'brucha b'nefesh shotze b'ginzen moram d'tzvos yogan aleinu nagay l'minhag Yisrael b'zeh v'hi ratzim shemizbarach shigadlo v'yoyse v'yachad im zugosa tichya v'tzkol hayolodim shiyichya l'ladehem L'ter l'chupa l'maister tevim l'ter charchava berchas and the laboratory signature.
I'd like to ask Motti Zaidi, my father, Mr. Zax the Duke. He has a new nickname in town. I just found out his name is the Duke. To read the same letter with the English translation.
This is the text in English that the Lubavitcher Rebbe sends. In response to your notifying me of your son's 3rd birthday, may it be God's will that you raise him and bring him to Torah, marriage, and good deeds amidst abundant blessings. I would like to quote a portion of a letter of my teacher and father-in-law, the Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Isaac Schneerson of righteous memory, about the custom of cutting the child's hair at age 3. Concerning the cutting of the child's hair, the Upsherenish, among Jewish customs, is considered a matter of great importance. Its essential aim is to teach to wear payos, side locks, from the day that the child's hair is cut and his payos left. It is customary to train him to wear a talis katan, a fringe garment known as tzitzis, and recite the morning blessings, grace after meals, and the prayer before retiring to bed. May God, blessed be He, help you raise your child and bring him to Torah, marriage, and good deeds amid success and peace of mind in both material and spiritual matters.
I would like the Kohanim to prepare to give Motti a blessing.